All right, let's get to the rest of the 1 o'clocks. We'll roll through them here. Carolina Panthers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. A little battle of 1995 expansion teams here, Sam. Jags are favored by 6.5. It's a must-win game for the Jags, of course. Sitting there at 8-7 and tied atop the AFC South with two other teams record-wise. Jags with a 4-game losing streak. They were 8-3 just a few weeks ago. Trevor Lawrence banged up with the Teron Armstead of injuries here. He's got more injuries than Teron Armstead. We'll just say that, Trevor Lawrence. But it really looks like his shoulder could keep him from going. But, man, every time we're not expecting Lawrence to play, he does play. Like, he came back against the Saints this year, too. How many injuries has he had? That feels like an eternity ago, but he had like a knee that looked terrible, and he came back for a Thursday night game this year. Lawrence is pretty durable, but I don't know if he can go in this one.
Well, I mean, durable would be not getting injured in the first place, I would think, as opposed to somehow being able to battle through
you're right.
injuries.
This is like Ben Roethlisberger durable.
Yeah.
Right? You get hurt a lot, but you tough it out or you recover quicker.
But this feels like, is this a line that says Lawrence is playing? Are they 7-point favorites with Beathard at quarterback?
It is the Panthers, and it is in
I know that, but Beathard. No?
Yeah, I understand.
Beathard? 7-point favorite?
I understand.
Anywhere? Ever?
And then Bryce Young playing better. Now, I don't...
Against the Packers.
Even the week before, he played well in the rain against Atlanta.
Ish.
The history... So if Bryce Young goes on a little run, you're a Bryce Young fan coming in. I was a Bryce Young fan coming in. We would be... we know the history here. If, Bryce Young has 2 more good games to finish the season, and you say, well, then the last 4 games, there's a chance Bryce Young in the last 4 games is a top 10 quarterback if you just look at the last 4.
It would at least give you a glimmer of hope. Before the Atlanta game, there was nothing, literally no reason for hope. The only reason for hope for Bryce Young before that game was, hey, there have been other quarterbacks that have looked like the worst quarterback in the NFL as a rookie and then not been terrible. They've gone on to do good things later in their career. There's nothing you can't. The argument was literally not constructed surrounding anything you've seen from Bryce Young. It was like, hey, other guys have also been ass and been okay at the end of it all. At least now you would be able to construct an argument if you were so inclined to say, we saw some things from Bryce Young late in the year. That touchdown against Green Bay where he scrambles out of the pocket and finds a guy in the back of the end zone. That looked like Alabama Bryce Young. And other quarterbacks have been bad and then turned it around. You would have more than one thing to put in your argument. So, from that point of view, it's good to at least have some level of optimism on something heading into the end of the year.
All I was going to say, though, I agree. You want to see things on tape that are positive heading into 2024. I always warn of the rookie season Sam Darnold had in 2018, where he was one of our highest graded QBs in the last 4 games. And it's an easy narrative that rookie figured it out in the last 4, sunshine and rainbows heading into the next season. I would just worry about that. But I'm still going to statistical malpractice, I believe it was called. Someone called me out for recently. I'm going to do it. Right. Over the last 2 weeks, Sam.
Yeah.
Bryce Young's QB6 per PFF grades.
The last 2 weeks.
Over the last 2 weeks. You know who's 31st?
No.
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, I was going to get there. Damn it.
It's Mitchell Trubisky and Patrick Mahomes sitting there at 30 and 31 over the last couple weeks. So clearly Bryce Young is the guy. Anyway, don't use those numbers. That doesn't mean anything.
No.
But yeah, if you still want to see some kind of positives for Bryce Young here going forward. But I think that's, the Panthers have the Jags and then they have the Bucs, two playoff teams, playoff caliber teams over these last couple weeks. It is a chance for Bryce Young to finish the season strong, or he just had a good game against the Packers like everyone else has.
Yes. I think that's probably the single most important element in this upturn. But as I say, I think it's good for him and for Panthers fans to see some kind of signs of life at the end of the season. Even if the whole year has been ugly, it's been a write-off, it's been pretty much a disaster for Bryce Young, at least the sign that it hasn't ended him, is an important thing to see. And I think the Jacksonville defense, it's not Green Bay. Like, it's not a defense you're like, oh, of course he's going to have a good game. But it's one that you could, have a solid performance against. So, yeah, I mean, that I think is a pretty interesting element to watch is can Bryce Young still have another good game back to back, and put it together against a better defense, but not exactly an amazing one.
Yeah, I don't have the splits in front of me, the danger of using splits again, but the Jaguars defense early in the year was playing much better than they have been recently. They just got smoked by Tampa Bay. They allowed Jake Browning to complete like 90% of his passes on Monday Night Football. The Jags defense has really fallen off. And my concern with C.J. Beathard, because the report by Mike DeRocco of ESPN is Trevor Lawrence probably not going to throw much this week. Again, he's tough. Is he just going to like game time decision, just, do what you got to do to get out there and play? Maybe. But even then, Lawrence hasn't played well in recent weeks. And if it's Beathard, we mentioned on the show last week, they're the team, the Jags, that don't have a lot of help. Screen game's not great. The run game's not great. The pass blocking's not great. The receivers haven't caught the ball all that well. Like, nothing's really good around the quarterback in Jacksonville this year. And the offenses look good when the quarterback has played at a high end, at a high level. And so you're expecting that from C.J. Beathard. And then the Jags defense, again, early in the year, they were contesting everything, right? It was like they were in the hip pocket of receivers, and that just hasn't been the case in recent weeks. Josh Allen, now that's the other thing. Like, the Carolina offensive line usually invites big pass rushing performances. You need Josh Allen and you need Trayvon Walker, again, to finally do something.
The other thing is whether Trevor Lawrence is actually able to go or not. He's been playing pretty badly in the last few weeks while he's been playing through the injuries. He has 12 turnover-worthy plays in the last 4 games. So he's averaging 3 a game while he's battling through this list of injuries. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is a better option than C.J. Beathard if it's an option. But this version of Trevor Lawrence, like, he's already dealing with a Teron Armstead list of injuries, and they add one more to it. Hey, go out there and throw through the shoulder injury. I mean, if you get another game like he had against Tampa Bay, where he had a 45 grade and put the ball in harm's way multiple times, then it probably doesn't matter whether he's playing or not.
So the Panthers the last 2 weeks, right? They pulled the upset against the Falcons in the rain, almost pulled the upset against the Packers last week. Both games were at home. They'll be on the road here. But if you're just looking at how teams are trending, the Panthers have a little bit of hope in life the last couple of weeks. The Jags are going the opposite direction. How much does that matter? So let's make our picks. Jags by 6.5. Against the Panthers.
Oh, I can't believe I'm doing it, but Panthers.
I'm doing the same thing. Taking Carolina. Battle of the expansion teams from 1995. Am I focused too much on the on recency bias here?
Probably.
Almost certainly.